Hello and welcome to the Remedy Fibers podcast, a podcast about knitting and crochet hosted by me, Jillian. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returner, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Today we have a quick check-in. I wanted to talk about some finished objects, a work in progress, a future cast on, and the first annual Bay Area yarn crawl. But if you're new here, I live in Northern California with my husband and dog Benny. I love everything yarn related and I hope you stay for my yarn journey. So first, let's kick it off with my finished objects. I'm so excited. It has been blocked. The edges have been fixed. The seams have been sewn. Everything that needs to be done with this sweater is complete. It is wearable and I cannot be more happy than what I'm happy with. So this is the Empire State Cardigan by Knitatude, also known as Chantel, and this was a journey because it was my first knit project. I think if you don't include the little headband I made, it's my first knit garment of 2024 and it was a labor of love. You already know if you've been watching my episodes, it's been a struggle because the yarn that I originally bought was very different from the same yarn. They're still selling it under the same name, but there's a different fiber content. So I had to deal with that struggle. The color was a little bit off, but now that it's blocked, maybe you can be the judge for yourself. I cannot tell of the color change. I can notice that the new yarn is a little bit thinner compared to the older yarn, but I cannot tell. So I'm happy with the sleeves. I didn't follow the sleeve instructions for one sleeve and then I realized that was silly. So I had omitted some decreases which didn't make any sense. So follow the pattern. It is written very clear, very precise. So one of the sleeves is written perfectly and the other one has a little bit of, you can't tell. I wanted a big balloon sleeve and I'm not experienced in creating or modifying a pattern to accommodate for that. So it ended up being fine. I think it is giving me that like a little oversized, a little slouchy look that I wanted. I omitted the button band, so there's no buttons, but I know that I can add those like magnetic buttons. So if I did want to close it, but for the most part, I never close my cardigans. So this is perfect for what I wanted it for, to wear it with a dress. So I'll take it off so that you can see how cute it looks, but I'm just so happy with it. I love the feel. The only downside is make sure if you are going to buy sweater quantity that you try to get the amount that you need, because then you run into the dye lot issues or the fiber content changes. Another con for this yarn is that it smelled really bad when I went to block it. So the yarn is Chain Net by Joann's, so you can find it online. Right now they're having a sale for $10 a ball, which normally it's about $12. And I used 8 balls. I used 7 balls. One is completely untouched. So the yarn content is 65% alpaca and 35% nylon for the top half. The bottom half is discontinued. We're not even going to talk about that. But it smelled really bad, like chemically nasty. So this is how the sweater is looking. So from the neckline all the way to about the middle part is the new yarn, and then the bottom half is the old yarn. So there's not really a color difference, it's more of a texture difference. This one is a little bit more fuzzy and this one's more firm, less fuzzy, but you can't tell the difference. And I really liked how you work the button band with the cardigan, with the garment, and then you pick up stitches to kind of work this neckline and you actually bind it together here. So that's pretty much the only seaming. You pick up stitches, it's worked flat for most of the sweater. You pick up stitches and then you seam only this part right here. So I'm really happy with it. I love the foof, I love the fuzz. It dried in about 6 hours maybe. I wonder if that's dirt. It is dirt. You know, I don't think it's dirt. There's like a little gray part here. My pen that I was using to mark off my pattern was a leak. It had like some ink. It leaked a little bit, like the ink leak. I don't even know. The pen kind of burst. Is that a better way to say it? And some of the ink got on here and I think it stained it, but It's in the back and you can't see that, but I'm really happy with this cardigan. I would knit this pattern again. Very simple, very straightforward, and there wasn't a part in the pattern where it was unclear or confusing. I thought it was very straightforward, so I would probably pick a different yarn. I would go with chain net again. I'm not mad with chain net. I'm just mad that the original yarn didn't match the new yarn that they're selling under the same name without any warning. So as many of you know, I like to work on one project at a time, maybe 2 projects, but I was so committed to getting this sweater done for this episode because, as you know, I missed last week's recording because I was still working hard on this sweater, and it's been a busy few weeks, so I haven't had a lot of time to put energy into it. So last night I decided to pick up my spinning. I still have about 4 more wools to kind of spin up from my nest fiber advent, but this is my work in progress. It's single plied right now, and it took me about 2 hours to work on this. I thought it was about an hour, but it's closer to 2 hours, and that's with minimal breaks. So this is one of the fiber contents. This one is Cormo, and it had more pinks, purples, a little bit of golds in here, and so all I have to do is do the chain ply for this, and then I can slowly throughout the week work on my other spinning projects, because my goal is to finish this up maybe by next episode. I don't know how realistic that is. Maybe by March, before March ends. My goal is to finish these, block them, show you them, as well as tell you which fiber content was the most beginner friendly. Right now, Cormo is winning. Polworth was a contender for what I thought was the easiest to apply with as a beginner, but Cormo is really winning that #1 spot. So I'll keep you updated how this goes, but I have it on this really old bobbin that's pretty much breaking down. I think I can detach it, which is not supposed to happen, but my goal is to work on this throughout the week and then talk about my new cast on. So back in November, it was my birthday, and I went to San Francisco. I have a little video of me going to different San Francisco yarn shops if you want to check that out here. But I was able to get some Lettlopi Istex yarn, and originally I wanted to make the coloring book raglan, but as I am on my journey of exploring what works for my wardrobe, I realized that cardigans are here. A lot of people have been talking about cardigans, and they're just really easy to throw on, throw off, especially when we are having such crazy climate. Like right now it's 60s, on Friday it's going to be 70s, and they're just really good to have for the early mornings, or for my personal preference, wearing them with dresses, skirts. So I've had this in stash, and I decided that I no longer want to knit the coloring book raglan. I'm not really drawn to my pullovers, like the pullover knits. I really love my cardigans, and I mostly wear store-bought cardigans because technically I've only knit one other cardigan besides this one. It was my Felix Cardigan, and I don't know if it was the yarn content, I don't know if it was the gauge, but it was very loose and drapey, and I wanted it a little bit more fitted. So I was looking online, I was looking at Ravelry for pattern ideas so I can use with the Istex Lettlopi, and it was a little bit hard because a lot of the pattern recommendations are for pullovers, and I just said I don't want that. So I was able to find the Felix Cardigan. The Felix Cardigan by Amy Christophers actually recommends this as one of the yarn recommendations, and so I thought it was perfect. It's black, it has specks of teal and purple. The downside is I only have 5 balls of this, and I'm probably gonna have to do another order. Probably not gonna match the dye lot content, and probably face the same issue that I had with this cardigan because I had to buy sweaters quantity at different times. This was November. If I buy another order, I'm sure it will not match the dye lot, even if I buy it at the same store. That was so long ago. So that's my plan. I already have the Felix Cardigan pattern. I don't need to buy it again. I'll insert a picture here of my previous Felix Cardigan, and I hope that when I do my gauge swatch, I want it to be not such a big of a loophole for the neck hole. I don't want it to be so like big and drapey, and I want it to be a little bit more stiff. The yarn that I used previously was more of a softer, I think it may have been superwash, but I'm hoping with the Istex Lettlopi it would hold that structure since it is more of a stiff and a scratchier yarn. So wish me luck. I was supposed to cast on and do a gauge swatch last night, but I'm a one project type of girl. I couldn't stop spinning, and I think I was up till 10:30, close to 10:30, spinning this up. So eventually I would do a cast on for here and let you know how it goes. I'm excited to work on another Felix cardigan because I was a little bit disappointed for how it came out the first time around. So I'm hoping my second go around I will be more experienced and I'll be keeping an eye out for those measurements and making sure that it's fitting me how I want. One thing I'm super excited is the first annual Bay Area Yarn Crawl is coming to us. There are over 20 shops participating, local yarn shops, in this Bay Area Yarn Crawl, and it's happening between March 15th to March 24th. So this is the first time that all of these stores are partnering together to hold bingo and sponsorships and raffle prizes, and 21 yarn shops is quite a lot to visit. So I know they have, I think it's like 5 yarn shop prizes, or if you visit 7 yarn shops there's a prize, and then there's like a huge grand prize if you go to all 21. That's unrealistic for me travel wise and budget wise. So what yarn shops I'm going to, I haven't decided yet, but I'm thinking probably the closest ones to me. So the yarn stores closest to me are Avenue Yarns, Black Squirrel, A Verb for Keeping Warm, Piedmont Yarn. This one's a little out there, but maybe Busy Sticks. But there's so many yarn stores that are participating, including like Dharma Trading Co., Firebird Yarns, I went to that one in San Francisco, the Royal Bee Yarn Company, that one is a little farther down, but I have always wanted to go to that one. Imagine It, which is also in San Francisco. So there's quite a bit of yarn to be bought within the next upcoming week, and that's why I haven't really purchased yarn. I know I bought yarn from Joann's, this one and the one I showed last time, the red one behind me, but I think a sweater quantity is in my future. I think so. But that's a lot of yarn stores, and they're kind of spread out. I'll put a map here so you can kind of see a general layout of where the stores are. So you can be traveling an hour, 2 hours, 2 hours and a half to a yarn store. And I want to win some prizes, but I don't think I can visit 21 yarn shops, especially that I don't own a car. I would be using like Zipcar to get around. So let me know, are you in the Bay Area? Do you plan on attending the Bay Area Yarn Crawl? I'm so happy that even though Stitches West is no longer going to be a thing, that they are kicking up and starting such a community of yarn shops and yarn shopping, and people just kind of getting out of their local yarn shop comfort zone and venturing out to explore different yarns, different spaces that really bring us together in the knitting and crochet worlds. So that's pretty much all that I have for this week. I'll be working on my projects, keeping you updated, but thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you and your family are happy, healthy, and safe, and hope to talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.